Hey guys, it's Melissa here, and today I'm going to be showing you my phase 1 in How to Reborn. So I have the REBORN Jade Sculpt here. She's a custom order that I'm working on, and I'm going to show you the supplies you need. So you're going to need your paint thinner to thin out your paints. You're going to need all your sponges. I have so many for different colors and different purposes. You're also going to need your paints. I use the Genesis Heat Set paints, but there's air dry, acrylics, and so many others that you can look into. And all of your brushes. Alright, so let's get started. Alright guys, so I have already washed my kit to remove any of the dirt and dust that it may have collected so the paint can stick, and I'm grabbing my vein blue. And it's already mixed with paint thinner. I like to keep mine in these mason jars so I don't have to keep remixing all the paints that I use very often. And then I'm going ahead and grabbing my blue mottling sponge. There's many tutorials on how to create these, but for this part we're using only the tail of the sponge. And then I'm grabbing a nice thin brush and we're going to create some veins. I like to use blue the very first layer because blue is very dominant and it will stain the vinyl very easily. So if you mess up, the other layers following can cover it up. So I'm going to start near the eye and the temple area and just draw a squiggly line and then a squiggly line connected to it, almost in the shape of a Y. And that's going to be our first vein. And then you're going to take your sponge and just kind of pounce it into place. You don't really want to rub at first because you want that defined squiggly vein line. And then you can see I'll go in and I'll kind of rub it a little just to blend it out a little more. But then you're going to do that on the other side and just basically place the veins where you feel veins will be. I personally like to look at real baby photos or other reborns that I have to get an idea of where to place them. But it's pretty self-explanatory, so just watch and follow along, and I'm going to speed this up. So after you're done with the veins, you're going to move on to your blue undertones. So the purpose of this is to give the dimension in the skin where the skin is typically thinner in babies. So as you can see, I'm placing it around the belly button, and then I'm going to go ahead and place it under the chest and between the chest. You can almost see the divots and the dents in the vinyl And so that's gonna be where you want to place your blue, and just blend it out with your sponge as well. And typically this goes on the bottoms of the feet and the inner palm area of the hands and certain areas on the face. So I did my best to kind of show where the placement is, but I'm not really too good at that, so I'm just gonna explain. I'm placing it in the inner corners of the eyes, and I'm taking a little blending brush to help blend out so I don't have to go in there with that bulky sponge. But you're gonna place it on the inner corners of the eyes and then right across the bridge of the nose. Some kits you don't need that part, but this kit I felt should. And then I'm just working in those dents where the eyes are, like the eye sockets. And then I'm going to go ahead and place this around the nose and kind of where the smiley lines are, and then above the eyebrow where the temple is. Most of the time you can see that in your kit, so I hope that makes sense. So now what you're going to do after you finish that is your blue mottling layer. So you're going to take your blue mottling sponge and just pack on some paint with your brush. Make sure you dab it off, and I like to start somewhere that's not going to be super visible, and you're just going to lightly pounce on to the vinyl and move your sponge in different directions and angles and just cover the whole surface. So you're going to do this to all of your limbs and your head. And it just helps give dimension to the skin and also help cover, any spots that veins may appear that you didn't specifically draw any. And then the next thing we're going to do is our red mottling layer. So I have my red mottling sponge, and I have my red Bountiful Baby. This is the lip, nails, and blush color, I think. But I'm just doing the same process, packing it onto my sponge. You want to be really careful with the red though, because it can be super pigmented, so you just want to kind of blot it off a little. But I'm just lightly pouncing it, and you'll see in a moment that it's going to be super red. So what I do is I'm grabbing my blushing sponge, so it's just a regular cosmetic wedge that I didn't pull out pieces, and I'm just going to lightly dab over, not so much blending because you still want the mottling pattern, but just blending it so it's not as harsh. And you're just going to repeat this to all your limbs and your head. So when it comes to the head, I just have a few tips, and that is, as you can see, to start in the back, because just like you saw with the tummy plate, sometimes it can be super red, and you don't want to make your face super red in the very beginning, because then when you go to blush it, it's just going to become overly red. The other thing is I like to avoid the ears and the nose when it comes to mottling. I don't know why, that's just my personal opinion. But mottling basically comes out in babies when they're cold, so that's the purpose of defined mottling. And then you can just see I'm blending it out again, any rough spots. And then something that I'm going to do that not everybody has to do, but I feel it adds to the realism. I'm just taking my yellow, and I poured a little thinner in the cap because I'm not going to use that much. But I'm just dabbing it on the nose and blending it out in my yellow sponge. I found that by doing this, it makes my babies more realistic, and so that's why I like to do it, but you can totally skip this step if you want. And then your next step is going to be creasing. So you're going to take your red again and a even smaller fine brush and your blending brush, and you're going to pick up some paint and basically go over all of the creases in the face, the legs, arms. Wherever there's a crease, you're just going to draw a line and then blend it out with your brush, and you'll see I'll even go in with my red blushing sponge and blend out even further. This is one of my favorite parts because it just adds so much realism and difference in the kit. I tried my best to show you guys, but it's kind of hard to show you and have me see exactly what I'm doing. So it's pretty self-explanatory, and you can go ahead and just watch. So then after you're done creasing, you're going to move on to your final step, which is your purple mottling layer. I like to do this last because besides the creasing, this to me adds the most realism. So this is just a mixture of my vein blue and my red that I have, and I'm just packing on my purple mottling sponge and basically doing the same process we did with the blue and the red. You know, making sure that I'm doing different angles with my sponge and reloading my sponge with paint every time it runs out. And if you need to blend this one out too, you can, but I never really have to. So yeah, this is basically the last step in phase 1, and next time I work on this little one, I will put out a phase 2. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up so that way I know. But after you finish that layer, you can go ahead and finally bake if you are using Genesis heat sets. I bake my babies for 8 to 10 minutes at 260 degrees, but you want to make sure that it is completely cooled off before moving on to your next phase. But that's going to be it for this video. I know it's a little different, and sorry if the voiceover is weird. I hate voiceovers. So yeah, but make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in my next video. Bye!